Alright, well, hopefully I can finish before this battery runs out because, yeah, anyways. Marin says C-Star because my camera will overheat. So, yeah, most cameras do overheat anyways. No real big deal there, or surprise is what I should say. Salamangre, Burning Shell. But anyways, as I was talking about, yeah, most decks have problems dealing with me. Unless I built them myself, so I do intend on building decks and selling decks, as in I built them, but yeah, that's gonna be in the future though. Tyrant, Dino Fusion, yeah, so eventually there's gonna be my own decks floating out there, so worst case scenario, somebody brings my own deck against me in a tournament. Marin says Mandarin. I'd be screwed, honestly, because that's my only weakness is battling other decks that I've made. Yeah. So eventually, I'm gonna end up facing myself. Crusadia Testament. That's what I call it, facing myself. If I battle a deck that I've built myself. I just think of it as like playing chess against yourself, honestly. Yeah. Witchcrafter, Semetti, Skemetia? I don't know, something like that. Haven't pulled this card before. Cool. Yeah, anyways, so I really want to get into the tournament scene though. I'm looking forward to it. Infinitrack, Earth Slicer. I'm missing a few cards though. I'm not gonna lie, I'm missing a few cards. If I really want to be competitively viable at the state that I want to enter into it, I'm still missing some cards. IP, Masquerina. But I'll get them eventually though. Luckily I was able to pull some really nice cards that are Link monsters, so I'm set on Link monsters, honestly. Evil Eye, Retribution. But there's some cards that I would like to swap out. Some Link monsters that I don't really want. But I just don't have any more viable replacements for them. More viable replacement for it currently. Marin says Blue Slug. And yeah, so before I go in, I'm gonna have to look at ban lists and stuff, because I'll even throw some Marincesses in there too. If I like it, I'll throw it in there. I don't even care if it goes with my engines or not. Dino Wrestler Gaga is Spacavati. But yeah, these are supposed to be support, so yeah, they don't have to really go with your engines. Like, people think, oh, you gotta run a combo deck to win. It's like, no, they don't really need to be combos with each other. They're not part of your Dark Factory of more production. They're not part of your engine. They're not. They're Link monsters or whatnot like that. They're not supposed to be part of your engine. Salamangre, Recurrence, but I don't know why people think that it has to be. They're supposed to just be their own engine in of themselves. Just my opinion. Alright, Spiritual Entanglement. I think I pulled a higher rarity of this. I was trying to think of what that was called earlier. It's rarity. Duh. Draw, Discharge. Gotta love it. You know what that's called, right? Tip of the tongue disorder. I was a psychologist, and that's what they call it. Tip of the tongue disorder. Ranyuru. Look it up if you don't know what it is. I'm not going to go into it. It's very complicated. And it has a lot to do with conflicting ideas from different philosophers and psychologists and that. And yes, philosophers did get involved into the discussion of it. But whatever. That's why I'm not going to go too deep into it. But yeah, tip of the tongue disorder. Happens to everybody. Whether you like to admit it or not, it does. Alright, on to the last three. Alright, here we go. So you guys won't even be seeing this the same day that I do this opening, actually. You'll be seeing it later on. Defender of the Labyrinth. Great, another one of these. I'm getting so many duplicates of stuff, I'm gonna have to... Dino Wrestler Escramanchi. Gonna have to start splitting them apart in my binders that I have. There's just too many of them to put them all in the same section. Salamangreat Transcendence. Alright, time to open up some more sleeves. I'm going to be putting these into my Fates Day Night ones. Gotta love the artwork on that. Very nice. I don't know if you guys know this about me, but I've been starting on some metal, on some crap. Oh man, it's gonna drive me crazy. Salamangreat Foxer on some crap. Salamangreat Foxer, but some metallurgy. I know that's not exactly what most people would call it, but that's all I can think of right now. Some metallurgy myself, and I've been into trying to make my own metal. Flawless Perfection of the Tenyi, because I am an inventor, and I invented a green metal. Yeah, the green metal is very expensive to make. It's more expensive than any other metal that exists. It's time consuming. It takes longer than any metal to make that exists. Salamangreat Burning Shell. But unlike other metal, this metal doesn't rust. It doesn't oxidize. It doesn't do any of that stuff. It doesn't how do I want to say this? Lodge flame, I don't know what they call it. But yeah, it doesn't allow for the growth of bacteria on its surface either. It's not 100%, but it is better than anything out there, except for one other metal where it would be equivalent to. Infinite Track Mountain Smasher. But I'm not going to discuss that metal either. It's whatever. But my metal is a composite metal. It takes more than one type of metal, and it's rolled together into a billet. And then the billet is formed. It's kind of strange how it's actually held together. Storm Dragon Return. But yeah, it's not a typical forging process. It's all cold. It's cold forged. The only heat that you get is the actual heat from hitting your hammer. Guard Dragon LP. Yeah. my metal will degrade at high temperatures, so it'll be rendered useless pretty much. My metal at high temperatures, so you gotta keep it at low temperature. You can't even heat it up at all. You don't have to quench it, heat it up and quench it to harden it or anything like that. It's air hardened. Walking, hold on, Wailing of the Unchanged Souls. I couldn't read it because my camera wasn't focusing. But yeah, so it's air hardened just like titanium is. I'm pretty sure it's titanium that air hardens. My steel does the same thing. Speed lift. And yeah, it would be considered a steel. But I actually invented it off of somebody else's invention. She talked about it, but as a theoretical thing. Ayn Rand, the green metal. Marin Sea Angel, she invented it, but it wasn't actually meant to be like the actual thing. It was like a theoretical thing that she just talked about. Tenyi Spirit, Nahati. But as it so turns out, it turned out to be a viable thing. The green aspect of my metal was actually a byproduct. Yeah, it's just a byproduct of the actual steel itself. I mean, it's hard to explain. Gladiator Beast Charge. Like, I say it doesn't oxidize, but the oxygen interacting with it causes it to turn green. But it's not actually oxidation, though, if that makes any sense, because it's not like rusting or anything. Gladiator Beast Degaria, it doesn't degrade at all. So, it turning green it's kind of just part of the forging process. I don't know how to explain it. It's really hard to explain because you would think, oh, it's oxidation because it's turning green because of it being exposed to oxygen. But it's really not oxidation because by definition oxidation means it's degrading the metal itself. Extra Hero Cross Crusader, but in all actuality it's not actually degrading it in any way. So, I mean, it's just more like, it's just colorifying itself. I don't know what else to say about that. Dwimmered Glimmer. It's just nobody's invented anything like it before, so it's just hard to explain it. Honestly, I don't know. It's just hard to explain. There ain't any other way to talk about it. But yeah, I've invented all sorts of cool things. That's just one of the things that I've invented. Is this steel. It's not really viable of an invention. Like, I don't expect to make money off of it because it's so expensive to make. BES Blaster Cannon Core. But I invented it for applications where you need something that's really, really strong and that is not susceptible to the environment. Yeah, so like it might be extremely viable in like solar panels. If you want the solar panel to last a really long time and not degrade here on Earth, like, oh wow, excellent application. Or if you need something that's really strong that won't be susceptible, like a bridge or something, or like railroads. Just like she talked about it, Ayn Rand, in her book. I'm pretty sure it was Anthem that she talked about it. Guard Dragon Cataclysm. Now most people say, oh, you gotta pronounce it on Rand because she was Russian. Well, she was Russian American. She became an American, so calling her Ayn Rand is more proper, technically. Gladiator Beast Vespasius. Unless you're talking about the old her, then yeah, if you're talking about her previous works that she started when she was in Russia, then call her Ayn Rand. She was Ayn Rand when she wrote that. Well, now she's Ayn Rand because she's American now. Gladiator Namachia. Although she is dead now. She died early 1900s. Yeah. Early 19... I think she died like 19... Was it 1908 or 1918? Something like that. I can't remember off the top of my head. Madolchi teacher, glass souffle. But yeah, so I invented her invention and made it real and viable. Link Mail, Archfiend. It's just not in the way that she envisioned it being made because, yeah, it's way more expensive and it's way more time consuming. And it really is just like a novelty type of thing because it's so expensive. But it is viable because it can be used in certain specialty things. Witchcrafter potteria, where you need a specific type of metal, then yeah, oh wow, it outshines any other type of metal. But it's so expensive, you really wouldn't want to use it. Get out for that many for that many things. For that many applications. It's just too expensive. And too time consuming to make, too. Witchcrafters. Haney? Witchcrafter Heine. Witchcrafter Haney. Too soon. Oh, man. You gotta love these names that Konami comes up with. Evil Eye, Retribution. Anyway, so yeah. But there's all sorts of cool things that I've invented. Like I invented anti-venom, and it also it attacks the infection of the blood. When you get bit by a Komodo dragon, you don't just worry about the venom, you worry about the infection from the bacteria that's in their mouth. Maren says blue slug. Well, my anti-venom attacks both that and then both the venom and the infection of your blood at the same time. So there's that. Desert locust. No sort of medicine comes close to that. If you get bit by a Komodo dragon, it's only a matter of time before you die. And if you don't die, you get maimed really bad. And it'll affect you your entire life. Chaos, Betrayer. But if you just take my drug that I invented, it cures you almost instantly. And you're done. Just make sure you eat and drink good and get good fluids in you.